Hello, and good morning. It is I, Juice Hugo. Yikes! Thank y'all for tuning in today. I ain't about to talk y'all heads off. We just gonna get straight into the news. So apparently, Uber has been up to some not so savory business practices. According to this article published July 10th by The Guardian, headline reads, Uber broke laws, duped police, and built secret lobbying operation, leak reveals. And so apparently there were more than 124,000 confidential documents that were leaked to The Guardian, and those files exposed attempts to lobby Joe Biden, Olaf Scholz, and George Osborne. I don't quite know who those guys are. It says Emmanuel Macron secretly aided Uber lobbying in France. Some of those texts revealed. The company used a kill switch during raids to stop police from seeing some of their data, and that the former Uber CEO told executives that violence guarantees success. Oh boy. So it seems that there was a leak of confidential files. That leak was sent to The Guardian as a publication, and it reveals an inside story of how Uber flouted laws, duped police, exploited violence against drivers, and secretly lobbied governments during its aggressive global expansion. As an American, that doesn't surprise me too much at all. It just sounds par the course for a powerful company trying to get even more powerful. So these leaks span a 5-year period when Uber was ran by its co-founder, Travis Kalanick. So the data obtained in this leak allegedly shows how Uber tried to shore up support by discreetly courting prime ministers, presidents, billionaires, oligarchs, and media barons. Some of the leaked messages also suggest that Uber executives, they knew what was going on. You know, they weren't in the dark about the illegal stuff that was going on. One executive even joked that they had become pirates, and another one said, "We're just fucking illegal." That's very comforting to hear. These files, which span from 2013 to 2017, includes more than 83,000 emails, iMessages, and WhatsApp messages. In one of those exchanges, Kalanick dismissed concerns from other executives that sending Uber drivers to a protest in France put them at risk of violence from angry opponents in the taxi industry. His response was, "I think it's worth it. Violence guarantees success." So that has to be one of the wildest things I've ever heard from a CEO of a company. Like, if you're not like Dana White or something, I don't think that I don't think violence guaranteeing success is something you want to hear your CEO say. Also, apparently, the French President Emmanuel Macron, I don't know why I said that with a Spanish accent. But anyway, the French President Emmanuel Macron apparently secretly helped the company in France when he was the economy minister, allowing Uber frequent and direct access to him and his staff. He also seems to have gone to extraordinary lengths to help Uber, even telling the company that he had brokered a secret deal with its opponents in the French cabinet. And from some of these other messages obtained in the leak, it just seems like Uber was just trying to bully politicians of various different governments to accept their taxi service. When our current president, Joe Biden, who was at the time was the vice president, and he was a supporter of Uber at the time, when he was late to a meeting with the company, Kalanick texted one of his colleagues and told him, "I've had my people let him know that every minute late he is one less minute he will have with me." So you, the head of a taxi company, let's call it what it is, a ride-sharing service, have the balls and audacity to talk to the vice president of the United States like that. Who really has the power in this country? Like, honestly, in this world. I mean, it's apparent that these rich mofos clearly think that they got it. And it's crazy because you're going to hear more and more about this as in the upcoming days and weeks. But Uber has released a statement. They admitted to mistakes and missteps, but said it had been transformed since 2017. So apparently they're just trying to say, you know, that was the old Uber, the old guy who was running stuff. We don't got him no more. We totally different. We're nothing like that anymore. You know, it's like you catch your significant other cheating and like, you know, nah, that's the old me. This is a new me. You know, new me. I won't do that. I swear it was a mistake. It will never happen again. But like honestly, these leaks just really kind of give you a glimpse into what actually goes on in the business world. I feel there are very few people who actually, you know, build a successful business from the ground up without any type of shady dealings. Like honestly, like we literally have a company that was doing everything in its power to manipulate government officials to change laws and regulations and to get some of the opponents to the company to switch over sides to allow them to do business across the world. Like, it's crazy. Uber is now worth $43 billion. $43 billion. That is outrageous. And to think, where would they be if they hadn't done some of these tactics to get themselves in positions that they probably wouldn't have been in? And I've always had my issues with the ride sharing services. It's like, while yes, it is way more convenient than in the past of, you know, trying to catch a taxi. These ride sharing services, they definitely serve a purpose. You know, they definitely add convenience to your everyday life, but is it necessary at this point? One of the biggest things that went in Uber's favor in the past was how it was so much cheaper than taxis, at least in my area. It's not like that anymore. And it seems one of the ways Uber was able to weasel their way into this global dominance, instead of meeting with, you know, city mayors and transport authorities, they would just try to go straight to the top of the power of that area to circumvent any potential red flags that they would come across. So not only did they meet with Joe Biden, they met face to face with Emmanuel Macron, they met the Irish Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister, and the UK's Chancellor at the time. But these leaked documents just really show how well Uber was at finding alternative routes to power. They would use the influence that they had through friends of the company who were in high places, or they would seek out encounters with politicians when aides and officials weren't around, so they could kind of press up on them. See, we call that rushing them. You feel me? They rush them real quick. When you ain't got nobody, there's nobody in your ear to tell you, you know, this might not be a good idea. Let's think about this a little bit. They put the press on you to make you make a decision, to make you say something and commit to something that you might not really be able to or willing to commit to. Uber did a good job at enlisting a ton of powerful and influential figures in places such as Russia, Italy, and Germany. And that shouldn't be too surprising to many. That's kind of the route you go when you want to build your company into a global company, a global power. You need to get as much powerful backing and funding behind you as possible. Diversify that investment portfolio. And they also seem to have paid prominent scholars hundreds of thousands of dollars to do research that supported the company's claims about the benefits of its economic model. The craziest part about all of this, though, is despite everything that I've said, their efforts still had mixed results. Getting in buddy-buddy with politicians worked in some areas, but not all. The leaks just really show that Uber was willing to do anything to get a buck. Uber took advantage of every possibility that they could. The former co-founder used to say, "Embrace the chaos, it means you're doing something meaningful." And he put that idea into practice in January of 2016. Uber moving into certain European markets didn't go over well with a lot of the taxi drivers in those areas, so it led to a lot of strikes and protests. So what the co-founder did is he encouraged the executives to retaliate on those taxi protests by encouraging their local Uber drivers to stage a counter-protest. The co-founder was warned by the executives in those areas that doing so risked putting Uber drivers' lives at risk. You know, there are certain people who just want to be part of a protest or a riot just so they can break shit, you know, just so they can fight somebody. The co-founder didn't care. His response was, "I think it's worth it. Violence guarantees success, and these guys must be resisted." No, that That is just really low. And then in March of 2015 in Amsterdam, a bunch of angry taxi drivers attacked Uber drivers with brass knuckles. And Uber just tried to use that to win concessions from the Dutch government. Uber was telling the driver victims to take their police reports and send it to the local newspaper. One of the executives wrote, "We keep the violence narrative going for a few days and then we offer a solution." It's fucking sick, man. And like I said before, like Uber knew that they were on some fuck shit because they even referred to Uber's other than legal status or other forms of non-compliance with regulations in countries including Turkey, South Africa, Spain, the Czech Republic, Sweden, France, Germany, and Russia. One of the executives even wrote in an email, "We are not legal in many countries. We should avoid making antagonistic statements." You got that right. Hell, in 2014, their former head of global communications said, "Sometimes we have problems because, well, we're just fucking illegal." What? Now, of course, a spokesperson for the former co-founder is denying everything. He's pretty much just saying it's fake news. I'm not sure if a lot of you all are aware, but before Uber became like legal and official, they were considered unlicensed taxis. So Uber offices in dozens of countries were repeatedly raided by authorities back in the day. They even had a kill switch. So like when an office would get raided, they would tell their IT person to cut off access to the company's main data systems that would prevent authorities from being able to get access to their evidence. It appears they did that at least 12 times. So those kill switch protocols aren't necessarily illegal. They just seem like a pretty shitty thing to do. It's like if you don't have anything to hide in this situation, why get rid of any potential evidence? And Uber agrees with that because they stopped doing that practice once that co-founder was no longer with the company. So that's pretty much it from the article. I'm gonna post a link to the article in the description box. It's just wild, but it really gives you a peek into the type of tactics that these corporations use to reach the level that they reach. It's unfortunate as hell, but it's like, it just really seems to be successful in the corporate world. Gotta be a lowlife. Yikes!